Hello, friends. Today let's read a book. Happy Valentine's Day, Gus. It was just another Friday at school until the teacher pulled the box of art supplies out of the closet. We are going to spend the rest of the afternoon making cards for Valentine's Day, she said. Gus could hardly wait to get started. He wanted to give his mother the most beautiful card ever. First, he poured glue on a lacy white heart. Then he poured glue on a shiny red heart. Gus pushed the two together and wrote, "Mom, you mean more to me than eating ice cream or climbing a tree. Be my Valentine." Just as Gus finished, the final bell rang. Gus and Bean reached out of the door and onto the bus. Billy plopped down in the seat behind them. Bean tugged at Gus' card. "Let me see it," Bean said. "No, let me see it," Billy said as he snatched the card away from Gus. "Give it back," Gus demanded. Just then, a big gust of wind blew through the open window. The card sailed out the window and down the street. "Stop the bus!" shouted Gus. But the bus did not stop. It kept heading north while Gus' car headed south. Gus spent Saturday morning worrying. He flopped down on his bed. "What am I going to do?" he asked Bean. "My mom's card must be halfway to the moon by now. So buy another one," said Bean. Gus held up his piggy bank, closed one eye, and looked into the slit with the other. Then he shook the piggy bank back and forth as hard as he could. Nickels, dimes, and quarters rained down on his bed. "Jackpot!" Gus yelled. "Let's go to the store." Gus and Bean looked at a lot of gifts at the store. "Candy is a better present than a card," said Bean. "But we should try a piece before you give it to your mom, just to make sure it tastes all right." "Maybe you're right," said Gus, "but just one." Gus handed Bean a chocolate buster cluster, then tossed one into his own mouth. He closed the lid tight and tucked the box under his arm. An hour later, Gus and Bean walked out of the store with a half-eaten box of chocolates. As Gus and Bean headed home, they heard Billy. He was zigzagging down the sidewalk, heading straight for Gus. "Out of my way!" Billy hollered. "Watch out!" Gus hollered back. Too late! Gus flew one way and the candy flew another. The gift was ruined. "Now what?" Gus asked Bean. "You will think of something," Bean answered. "I just thought of something," said Gus. "I could make my mom a bunch of flowers. I just need some colored paper." "I have a lot of paper," said Bean. "Let's go over to my house." Gus sat down at Bean's desk. In front of him lay a stack of colorful paper. He took out a piece of yellow paper and a bottle cap. He laid the bottle cap on the paper and traced around it. Next, he got some sheets of bright green paper. He rolled them up one at a time until he had 3 tubes that looked like flower stems. After that, he got a pair of scissors, some white paper, and a bottle of glue. Cut, 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 glue, glue, glue. Before long, Gus had made 3 beautiful flowers. He held them up. Perfect, he exclaimed. Just as Gus headed for home, rain clouds started to gather. Lightning streaked across the sky. Thunder rumbled. First, only a few drops fell. Soon, more and more drops fell. Run, hollered Bean. By the time Gus reached his front door, he was soaked. So were his flowers. I give up, sighed Gus. Valentine's Day finally came. It was time for giving presents and going to the town's annual Valentine's Day party. Gus was not happy. He had his special clothes for the party. He had his special shoes for the party, but he didn't have his special present for his mom. Gus' mom had bought a new pair of shoes. Her favorite dress was washed and hanging up to dry. She had put Gus' present away in a secret hiding place. She was ready, but Gus was not ready. What was he going to do? Gus went down to the basement. He sat on a stool to think. The stool wobbled back and forth, and so did Gus' thoughts. No supplies to make a card, no money to buy candy, no time to make any more flowers. Gus sighed. The stool kept on wobbling, and so did Gus' thoughts. Suddenly he jumped to his feet. I have got it, he said. I'll fix the legs of this old stool and paint it to look brand new. Mom will be so surprised. Gus picked up a brush and began to paint. Mom's voice floated down the stairs. Gus, are you down there? She asked. Panicked, Gus grabbed the nearest thing he could find, threw it over the stool, and plopped down. He soon realized he had grabbed his mom's favorite dress. I made a mess of everything, sniffed Gus. I lost your card. I dropped your candy. I got your flowers wet. I even wrecked your stool. Worst of all, I ruined your favorite dress. Ruined it? She said. It's the best Valentine dress I have ever had. She gave Gus a great big hug. Now let's get ready for our date, she said. The end. Thank you for listening.